officially happening. I'm doing it. I'm reading It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I feel like every single person on this planet has read this book. It is so popular and beloved by everyone on social media. I literally have not seen one person talk shit about this book, which makes me a little bit nervous because I feel like people hype this book up a lot and hype up the author, so I really want to love it. I don't want to offend anyone if I end up not liking it, but I'm really excited to finally start reading this book. I actually asked you guys over on my Instagram if I should read this book or A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and so many of you guys wanted me to start reading this one, so I thought I would do like a cute little reading vlog situation with you guys. I'm going to try my best to not include any spoilers within this reading vlog. If I do talk about something important in the plot, I'll make sure to give you guys a little warning. Also, just so you guys know, at the end of the video, I will be sharing my thoughts on the book, if I liked the book, if I hated the book, and if by the off chance you haven't read this book and you want to read it with me, definitely do so we can feel like we're doing like a little book club via YouTube. Can we just take a moment to appreciate this cover? I am in love with this cover. It is so damn pretty. Okay, time to read. Oh my god, the dedication is so sweet. This book came out in 2016 and it's now just becoming popular. That's crazy. Part 1, chapter 1. Reading in bed because that's like the best place to read a book. But the first sentence already has me hooked. It goes, as I sit here with one foot on either side of the ledge, looking down from 12 stories above the streets of Boston, I can't help but think about suicide. That's so sad. What a way to begin a book. Interesting. I actually forgot that this takes place in Boston. This is the second book I've read this week that takes place in or around Boston, which is so funny because if you have been watching me for a while, you know that I lived in Boston for almost 11 years. I've been seeing Boston everywhere lately, and I think it's time for me to take a little trip to my old stomping ground. But yeah, first sentence, I'm already hooked. I'm on page 12 and the main characters just met. I'm assuming the guy that Lily is talking to right now is the second main character. They're having a little cute, deep conversation talking about what brought them each to Boston, and I think it's so funny. I don't know the guy's name yet. I'm assuming it's Ryle because that's the name of the guy from the summary on the back of the book, but he was talking about Boston Purgatory, which is when the locals treat you like a tourist, but the tourists treat you like a local. And that is so true. That definitely happens. There's a quote on page 16 that is so relatable. Riles, which I found out it's officially the second main character who's talking to Lily, he goes, I feel like everyone fakes who they really are, when deep down we're all equal amounts of screwed up. Some of us are just better at hiding it than others. Dude, preach it. That is literally the world that we're living in. We're all kind of screwed up in our own way, even if some of us don't want to admit it or like to admit it. When I read that quote, I was like, dude, you are so right. I already like him. Also, it's kind of funny that he's having these deep thoughts when he's high, because I feel like whenever someone gets high off weed, they start thinking very deeply and start saying very deep thoughts. And the people who are sober and are around the person that's smoking weed are like, dude, what are you talking about? Why are you getting so deep right now? Also, he's a surgeon smoking weed. That is hilarious, but let's continue. Guys, Lily just asked Ryle what his last inappropriate thought was. You know what his answer was? I'm not even comfortable saying it. Wow. A way to get straight to the point, Ms. Colleen Hoover. Okay. I don't know if it's about to get spicy in this book, but Riles clearly wants to do something with Lily, and Lily is like second guessing herself, doesn't know if she's willing to, you know, have a one-night stand with this guy that she just met. But
I don't know, is she actually going to go through this one night stand? Obviously, because of the summary on the back of the book, we know that they do end up, you know, getting together, but do they actually do it on the first night that they meet? I don't know. Chapter 2. Just read 26 pages. Let's go. So nothing happened between Ryle and Lily. They didn't get each other's numbers or like contact information, so I'm curious to see how they end up meeting up again, because we know they're gonna end up meeting each other later on. Curious to see how it happens. Does it happen at the hospital that Ryle works in, or does it happen on the street? Who knows? Okay, so I just finished chapter 2 and I was able to get a better understanding of her past with Atlas, which according to the back cover, Atlas was her first love. And chapter 2 was mainly Lily reading some old diary entries, which is funny because her diaries were like letters to Ellen DeGeneres. She would put Dear Ellen DeGeneres, not Dear Diary. And I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, I got to get a glimpse into her past with Atlas, and it's a little sad because they met in high school. She was 15, I think, and he was a senior who was also homeless. So I don't know where his parents were at the time, if they were alive or dead, but a little sad, not gonna lie. And now I'm about to start chapter 3, which apparently takes place 6 months later, and still no word on Riles. Lily and Riles just met each other again for the second time after their first encounter, which was 6 months ago, and I'm so freaking excited. Also, Lily bought a storefront to turn into a floral shop, which I think is so cool because that was one of her dreams that she was hesitating to go after, and I'm glad that she finally is pursuing her dream and she got to meet Ryle again. I love that. Ryle just told Lily that he wants to fuck her, and his sister walked in and was like, what is going on? Did you just tell her that you want to fuck her? Because his sister doesn't know that they actually met 6 months ago. His sister's reaction is so funny. He's so confused as to why her brother just said that. I like how he's just so casually saying that to Lily, like, yeah, I want to do you. Oh my gosh. While wearing a onesie, like, this is my little reading partner, and how cute is she? Oh my gosh, I just want to cuddle her. Here's the thing. I kind of wish that I was getting Ryle's perspective in this book. I don't know. I feel like there's so much to his character that I want to know, and I'm sure as the book goes on, I'll probably get to know him a little bit better. But right now, I'm only getting Lily's point of view, which is fine. I just want to know a little bit more about Ryle. He showed up at her apartment begging her to have sex with him. Ended up falling asleep because he's a neurosurgeon and he was exhausted from working 48-hour shift, which is so funny. But then at the end of chapter 5, he just leaves without even kissing her or, you know, sleeping with her. I'm about to start chapter 6, and the first sentence is, it's been 53 days since Ryle walked out of my apartment that morning, which means it's been 53 days since I've heard from him. That makes me sad that all this time is passing by and they still haven't gotten together. They haven't even kissed yet. The author definitely is building that moment up, so I'm hoping it's like an epic reunion when they do end up being together or seeing each other again. Riles literally picked up Lily, threw her over his shoulders in the middle of his sister's birthday party. I love him. Like, I really do. They finally kissed. I'm on page 92 and I'm definitely invested now. Guys, I'm freaking out. Riles is literally having a heart-to-heart with Lily right now, and he's so cute. He goes, if I sent you flowers every time I had the urge to send you flowers, you wouldn't even be able to fit inside your apartment, because that's how much I think about you. And yes, Lily, you're right. I'm hurting you, but I'm hurting too. And until tonight, I didn't know why. Oh my god, so cute. Okay, one more. I have no idea what I'm doing. You make me want to be a different person, but what if I don't know how to be what you need? This is all new to me, and I want to prove to you that I want you for so much more than just one night. Oh my god. How can Lily turn this guy down? There's no way. I'm on chapter 8 and nothing spicy has happened yet. Okay, I literally want to cry because I'm learning more about Atlas' story and it's just so freaking sad, you guys. Oh, it's so sad. I don't want to tell his story because it'll give away an important part of the book, but it's just so sad. I just literally want to crawl into this book and give Atlas a hug because of everything that he went through. I'm still in chapter 8, and the way that I'm learning about Atlas' history and life is through Lily's diary entries back when she was in high school, when she was 15 years old. I kind of like that Colleen Hoover is doing that with this story. The story takes place in the present with Lily and Riles, but it also goes back to when Lily was 15, when she was with Atlas. So I really like that I'm learning more about Atlas through Lily's eyes from when she was a 15-year-old girl. It's just so freaking sad. Literally, I don't even want to keep reading because it's so sad, but I know that these journal entries are really important to the overall story. So I'm not going to skip them, even though I really want to skip them because they're so sad. Oh my god, I love Riles. He's so sweet. I think Atlas just made an appearance. Like, I don't think I'm ready for what's coming next. Alright, so I'm a little confused because Riles' sister, who's friends with Lily, is not happy about the relationship. And she hasn't really said why she isn't happy that they're dating. You would think that she would be happy at the fact that her friend is dating her brother, but she's not. And that makes me wonder if Riles has a dark secret that we'll find out about later on in the book. It kind of worries me. I mean, it could just be that she knows he's a player and that he doesn't take his relationship seriously. But I don't know. That was kind of like a little red flag for me. So just gotta keep on reading. Here's the thing. I really like Atlas, at least 18-year-old Atlas, and I feel so bad for him. I literally just want to give him a hug. But he's starting a relationship with a 15-year-old when he's 19, and to me that just seems wrong. I mean, the age gap is not that big of a deal. I think it only puts me off because she's 15. She's still a minor. Maybe if it was like 18 to like 21 or 22, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I don't know. I don't think I'm a fan of Riles anymore. Actually, I know that I don't like him anymore. I can't believe he did that. Just made it to part 2. Chapter 17 was learning all about Atlas and Lily's last night together and what caused them to kind of break up, even though they weren't official, which is kind of sad the way things ended, but it kind of makes sense. And Lily basically ends this chapter by saying that she'll always have love for Atlas. That will never change, but it seems like she has gotten closure. Atlas met Ryle, and that didn't go well at all. I'm excited to see what part 2 holds. I'm literally halfway done with the book already. It is 12:28, way past midnight, so I think I'm going to read one more chapter and then probably call it a night. Good morning, you guys. It is now the next day. I'm a little more than halfway done with the book. I have less than 100 pages left and I'm on chapter 24. Remember yesterday how I was all team Ryle and I loved him and I thought he was the best character? Not so much. Still can't believe he did what he did to Lily, and I don't know, I don't see them going past this issue. Like, so many of you guys told me that Colleen Hoover would take my heart and like stomp on it with this book, and she is definitely doing that. I did not see this twist coming, and I'm anxious to see like how she actually ends this book. I'm in shock with what just happened, and I'm angry, I'm sad, like I'm all the emotions. So I don't know, these last 100 pages are going to be rough to get through. I know that much. I just finished this book and my heart is officially broken. Oh my god.
My heart is in pieces right now, you guys. Like, so many of you guys warned me that this book was going to take my heart, stomp on it, and break it into a million pieces, but I thought you guys were overreacting. I honestly thought that this book wouldn't get to me, but it did. I have so much to say, but then at the same time, I feel like I'm completely speechless. Let me try to gather my thoughts. Also, sorry for the plain as wall. I am filming in my office on the floor because my husband is still sleeping and I don't want to make too much noise. So a plain white wall featuring a cute little teddy bear will be the backdrop. But it ends with us. This was a roller coaster of different emotions for me. Of course, Lily is the main character, and then you have Ryle, who is basically the person that she immediately falls in love with, and then you also have Atlas, who is her childhood lover, best friend, protector, all of those three things in one. And I really like how this book was written because it goes from the present time to then back in time, so we get to know Atlas a little bit more and really understand the history between Lily and Atlas. By the end of the book, we have a better understanding of why Lily can't really let go of Atlas. But let's focus on Lily and Ryle. Ryle, oh man, he started off with so much potential, and when he hit Lily, I was in shock. I was like, there's no way he just hit her. Well, he pushed her first. I was like, there's no way he's going to become abusive towards her, knowing what her dad did to her mother. Ridiculous. I feel like I was just as devastated as Lily was when that happened. She took him back, and then it happened 2 more times. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little upset with Lily when she took Ryle back, and I was like, why are you taking him back? He's going to do it all over again. As I read more of the book, I'm like, who am I to judge what she's doing? Like, I'm not in her shoes, so I don't know what she feels. And I think that was one of the main themes of this book, is like, it's so easy for outsiders to judge those who are in an abusive relationship, whether it's a male or female, and outsiders tend to be like, why don't you just leave that person that keeps hitting you, that keeps physically and mentally abusing you? You should just leave. It's not that hard. And when in reality, it can be quite hard for that person to leave their abuser because they truly do love them, they truly do believe they will change, or they have kids and they don't want to break up their family, or they may not have the financial means to actually leave their abuser. And this book definitely made me realize that I can sit here and say, if a man ever lays his hands on me, that I'll just get up and leave, but then we really don't know what we would do until we're actually put in a situation like that. So I can sit here and judge all I want, but until I'm put in that situation, which I hope that I'm never put in that situation, I really don't know what I'll do, because everything else is just hypothetical scenario. Honestly, Colleen Hoover didn't make Ryle to be this horrible person. She made his character deeply fucked up. I feel like there were so many more layers to Ryle that we really didn't get to explore. I mean, Lily was the main character of this book, so it makes sense. And I do think that he did love Lily, but I think he loved her a little bit too much, to the point where it became toxic. And then mixed in with his anger issues, it was just not a good combination. I'm really glad that at the end, Lily did not end up going back with him. After she gave birth to their daughter, she told him that she wanted a divorce, and he was like, please don't do this to me, give me one more chance. And I really like that Lily turned the tables on him and was like, what if that little girl, your daughter, came to you one day and said, Daddy, my boyfriend hit me, or my husband tried to rape me, what would you say to your daughter? And it really made Ryle take a step back and think and say, I would tell her to get away from him and to never take him back because she deserves so much better. And in that moment, it was like a light bulb went off in his head, and he was like, I understand why you can't take me back, and I don't want you to take me back. At the end, it seemed like they were co-parenting quite well, which makes me happy. And I really do hope that Ryle does get the help that he needs and is able to get therapy. And I definitely don't think it would have worked out between him and Lily because of his anger issues. And I feel like once you cross that line of hitting your partner, there's really no going back. And that goes for a man hitting a woman or a woman hitting a man. I feel like that is just such a cowardly thing to do. And once you cross that line, how can you go from that? How can you move on past that? At least I feel like I would not be able to move past that. I feel like the relationship would quickly crumble after that, and you lose all your respect for that other person. Like, as soon as that happened, I lost all my respect for Riles. I did feel bad for him because he had a traumatic experience happen to him and he never really dealt with it, and you can tell that he never dealt with his anger issues. So I do feel bad for him, but I'm glad Lily didn't take him back and chose her daughter over herself and over Riles. And now her daughter doesn't have to go through what Lily did, seeing her mom get beat up by her father every time he got angry angry. Speaking of Lily and her mother, at the beginning of this book, I could tell that Lily really resented her mother for not leaving her abusive father. And I like that at the end of the book, she got closure with her mother. And when she opened up to her mother about what was going on with Ryle, she told him not to take him back and to know her limits and to love herself first and love her daughter. I really liked that at that moment, Lily realized that her mother was not the weakest person that she knew, but in fact, she was the strongest person that she knew. I feel like Lily forgave her mother for not leaving, and then her mother opened up to Lily on exactly why she stayed and the things that she went through. So I really like that they got closure in that sense. And then we have Atlas and Lily. So I love Atlas. Throughout the book, I just wanted to give him a big hug because I felt so bad with everything that he went through. Like, no one should have to go through what he went through. It's crazy that some parents would just kick their child out and not even worry if they ate, if they have some place to sleep, especially over a man or over a woman. Like, why would you choose someone else over your kid? Like, you should always put your kid first. So that was devastating to read. I definitely felt like I needed a breather a couple times reading this book because it was really heavy and really tough to get through. I love that Atlas and Lily ended up together at the end. I love that we got to really understand why they couldn't let go of each other. They weren't meant to let go of each other. They were always meant to find each other once they were whole. I feel like when they first met, Atlas was broken because of everything he went through, and then when they met up again all those years later, Lily was not the broken one. And then finally when they met at the end, Lily was finally whole, Atlas was finally whole, so they were able to give their relationship a try. And I think that speaks volumes. Like, if you're broken, there's no way you can allow someone else to love you, and there's also no way that you can actually love another person. I think that saying that he's my other half or she's my other half is not really healthy. I think that it takes one whole person and then another whole person to actually make a relationship work, because we all know that relationships are not easy. They can be quite hard at times. So I really like that once they were in a better place and once they were both healthy mentally and physically, they were able to give their love a shot for the first time. I'm still weirded out about the fact that, you know, Lily was 15. I have a hair in my face. That Lily was 15 when they first met, when they first started like kissing. They didn't make love until she was 16, but you know, it was still weird seeing that he was 18 and then 19. Definitely made my heart ache multiple times reading this book. But overall, I did enjoy reading. I give it like a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I don't see myself picking this book up again. Not because I didn't like the writing. I loved Colleen Hoover's writing. I loved the way she told her story and Lily's story, especially reading the author's note when she opens up about how she got her inspiration for these characters. And it was based on her life and on her mom's life. Her mom left her father when Colleen was 3 due to her father being abusive towards her mom. Just like in the book, Colleen got closure with her mom and her father. And I love the meaning of this book, like basically saying you can't judge someone's relationship and you can't judge a victim for not leaving their abuser, because again, we never know what we would do in that situation. We can sit here and say, oh, we'll just leave or we'll hit them back or whatever it may be. But again, you never know until you're put in that situation. So I really like that that was her message throughout the book. Think before you judge and try to empathize before you judge someone else's actions or behaviors or decisions. But since it was so heavy, I don't see myself picking this up and reading it again. But I'm glad I did read it and I did enjoy it. I definitely understand the hype, and if you haven't read this book, definitely read it. I don't think you will regret it. I love how quick of a read it is. I want to read another Colleen Hoover book, but I'm kind of scared. Are all of her books this deep and heavy? Because I don't think I can take it if they are. I really hope you guys enjoyed this reading vlog. This technically was my first reading vlog on my channel. If you want me to film more of these types of videos, definitely let me know in the comments below. If you have any recommendations on Colleen Hoover books that you think I should read next, definitely let me know in the comments below as well. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you a part of my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.